Hey guys, it's Sarah here. Today I am putting together a Project Life page using the August 2018 Studio Calico Documenter Kit. This is the Golden Hour Documenter Kit. And I already have some of my cards placed here, but I actually end up switching out a bunch of them and kind of rearranging things up until the very last minute. So there were just so many great cards in this month's kit, so I wanted to make sure that I used a bunch of them, which is also why I printed some of my photos in a square format. I do that when I want to bring in more 3x4 cards and just play around a little bit with pattern and color and kind of get more of that added into my page. So I'm starting out with this photo of my feet. I went for a run that morning, so I went ahead and spelled out run using the alphabet stickers. And then I'm going to play around with the stamp set that came in this month's kit. So it was really great for kind of building your own journaling card. I love these sort of customizable stamp sets. I think they're really fun and you can just get a lot of use out of them on any page. So this one was designed by In a Creative Bubble and it is awesome. I love it so much. So I'm going to go ahead and set the foundation for this card, but I will actually do my journaling off camera since I want to type it instead of write it. So I'm just going to stamp all these things on here and then I'm going to just leave it alone. So I'm using just some black ink and gray ink to do my stamping here. I'm going to be using a lot of stamp sets on this page, so I will link everything below. You can also find it on my blog. And there were just so many great stamp sets that got released this month, so they're kind of everyday stamp sets. They're perfect for using in Project Life, so you'll see a lot of them kind of come into play as I'm putting this page together. So that will finish off this journaling card, and now I'm going to go in with the monthly stamp set, subscription stamp set, and I'm going to use this sentiment that says enjoying this, I think this is enjoying this moment, or enjoying this very moment, and I'm going to stamp it in black and then I'm going to fill in the moment using a gray ink. I love kind of the outlined look. I think it's a really nice graphic element and it looks really good as a title. So I really loved using this on that photo in the top right corner. I'm using that border card as more of a label. So it has kind of a label border. And so when I went ahead and rounded those corners, it looked exactly like a label and it just worked perfectly as kind of the sentiment for the top of that photo. So I went ahead and adhered that and added a couple of tiny attacher staples, and then I'm playing around with the other half of that border card and I'm going to end up using that as my title card. So I'm going to go in with some of the chipboard pieces and play around with those a little bit. I love that these have a backing, so you can kind of play around with them on your page as much as you want before adhering anything down. And it's kind of the perfect embellishment to just play around with a lot on your page before committing to anything. And then I'm playing around with a bunch of my cards and figuring out what I want to use. I could do this for so long. I mean, I could just rearrange cards all day long, but at some point I have to commit, so I decide to go ahead and adhere my photos down so that I can kind of move on from this step. And I ended up using kind of three main colors on this page. So I used the pink, the blue, and the yellow. So that yellow color is really carried throughout the entire middle section of my page. And then I have sort of pops of blue and pink in other areas on the page. So I'm going in with another stamp set now, and I'm just stamping out a few of the sentiments onto white cardstock. I will fussy cut them out, and then I'm going to play around with their placement on a couple of those photos in the middle section. I'm not kidding, guys. The stamp sets that released this month are so awesome. Definitely check them out. Like I said, perfect for kind of everyday stamping and using on your Project Life layouts or really any project, but I just love kind of these little sentiments and icons, and they are perfect to kind of layer on top of photos and onto your journaling cards, which is what I'm doing right here. So I'm trying to kind of balance things out. I'm going to have a sentiment at the top of the photo and the bottom of the photo on those two middle photos there. And I'm all about balance. So you'll see some patterns are kind of repeated throughout. Again, the color is repeated throughout. Just a bunch of kind of repeated elements helps to keep things really well balanced. I wanted to back those two circle sentiments that I stamped out. So I went in with this pink journaling card and I just used my circle punch to punch those out. And I'm not opposed to really using a journaling card for this purpose. I know that it kind of ruins the card, so I won't be able to use the full thing on another page, but I am all about using your stash, and I know that I have so many journaling cards that will probably not get used. So if I see a purpose for something when I'm working on a project, I will just go for it and not feel bad about it. I tried to keep the floral pattern intact because it was so beautiful and I want to use it on another page hopefully, but I still went ahead and kind of cut those out and use them on my page there. So I'm using that other part of the card as my label for my date. And I'm going to kind of use one of the 3x4 cards to back that label, and I'm going to stamp out July using another stamp set that released this month. It's this really fun alpha. So I'm just spelling out July, and then I'm going to stamp that using some black ink. My whole reason behind kind of building this 4x6 card and not just using that 4x6 card on its own is because I felt like the words were just a little bit overwhelming and there was too much going on with everything else in the page. So kind of using that 3x4 card in the middle there just helped to tone it down, and it helped my sort of July label there just stand out a little bit more. So I went in with another stamp set, and I thought I was going to use this totally awesome sentiment on that top right photo, but I felt like there were just a few too many circles that were going on in this page, so I decided to leave it off. But I did end up using this little sort of hash mark pattern in the bottom of that journaling card right there, and that was kind of the perfect touch to the bottom. And now I'm just going to kind of play around with the chipboard pieces once more. I'm going to punch a bunch of them out, kind of place them down, see if they're going to work. And I end up kind of putting a lot of them back because I don't want this spread to be too busy, but I do really like kind of punching them and seeing if they're going to work before I make a final decision. And then my last added touch that I'm going to do here is just adding in some of the little wood veneer stars that came in the kit. These are so cute, and I felt like they were kind of the perfect added detail to that Magic is All Around You card. So I'm going to use my Tombow Mono glue, which has a very fine tip applicator, and I will use those to kind of adhere these just in a random pattern on that card there. And then my last step for this page is just to finish up my title card. I'm going to adhere those cards on top of each other, and then I will add on a little chipboard piece, and that will complete this page. So I hope that you enjoyed this process. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new to my channel. And I hope to see you guys again very soon. Bye!